Welcome everyone to the ASPA podcast. My name is Karen Neckelman, and we are today live from the School HR Winter Bootcamp here in Florida. We are joined today by Sarah Marriott. She is Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources at Liberty Public Schools in Liberty, Missouri. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah, today. How are you?
Doing well.
So to start the conversation, can you do a little recap of what you talked about in your session?
So my session was on navigating difficult conversations, which really centered on there are many aspects of difficult conversations that feel out of our control. And so what are the aspects and pieces that we can put our attention on, and with preparation and planning, can control that aspect of it so that we have a process that we can follow to make it as structured and productive as possible.
Okay, so, and you share that many leaders avoid difficult conversations because of fear of conflict or bad reactions or damaging relationships. So in your experience, what's the real cost of avoidance, both for leaders and for workplace culture?
Yeah. And I think that it's just so uncomfortable for people. I mean, no one likes to have a difficult conversation, and that's normal. And I think when people can recognize that that's a normal fear, and that's a normal, difficult part of our job, then hopefully that creates a little bit of more sense of ease with navigating them. Because what we don't want to happen is that we continue to avoid those conversations because of whatever it is the reason that we're avoiding it, whether it's uncomfortableness or fear or whatever that is. And then what happens is the situation doesn't go away, or the matter or the issue at hand doesn't disappear. And in fact, it most often just magnifies and it is a lot more difficult, up to the point where it can become unmanageable. And when it becomes unmanageable, then a lot of other things can happen. One, it creates stress for you as a leader. You start to likely have more worry and concern and difficulty with navigating the landscape of your job at that point. The situation perpetuates. And so if it's quote unquote bad behavior, that's going to continue to happen. And that really just erodes the culture of the building or your department or district. And so making sure that those conversations are had early to try and strategically or hope for the best outcome possible.
And you talk about crucial conversations happening. So how can leaders recognize when a conversation has crossed into that crucial zone? And what's the first thing they should do differently in that moment?
Yeah. So probably the simplest definition I would say is that a crucial conversation, if you were to look at it as, if I don't have this conversation, is there going to be a change in an outcome? So if it's not crucial, then, will there really be a change? Probably not. It's more lighthearted is not the right word, but, less stress, less tension tied to it. And on a crucial conversation, those are those conversations in which they need to be addressed, because if you don't, then X will happen, or the potential of something becoming bigger. And so engaging in those conversations, that's what creates the crucial part of that, is really determining in that basic form of what happens if I don't.
Yes. And then with that comes preparation, that it's a big theme in your presentation. What are one or two mindset shifts leaders should make before entering a difficult conversation to ensure they respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally?
Probably the biggest piece of advice that I would share for a mindset shift would be really shifting that it's not about you. It is not likely anything that you have done. You're addressing a concern with a staff member that's related to that staff member's actions, whether directly or indirectly. And it's not that you're engaging in those conversations with necessarily anything that you have done or caused. And so moving away from that personal aspect of it. I shared in my presentation, I had a professor that always talked about a healthy sense of detachment. And that's a big mind shift that needs to happen, is really developing that balance of a healthy sense of detachment and being able to detach yourself away from the personalness of that conversation.
Yes.
And moving away from that.
Like keeping boundaries, emotional boundaries.
Keeping emotional boundaries, remembering it's not about you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And for leaders listening who might be facing a tough conversation right now, what is one practical step they can take this week maybe to approach it with clarity, empathy, and accountability without putting it off any longer?
Probably step one would be, what is the real issue? What really pinpointing and drilling down to, I've identified that these are the things that are frustrating me, but really what is the crux of the issue? What is that component that is the issue related to that staff member? And if you can remove all of the other extraneous components that sometimes filter in when we're getting ready, so emotions and perceptions and my own assumptions about what I think might happen or why I think a person did whatever it is that they did or engaged in, removing all of that out and really just thinking about, okay, what is the true issue here? And then planning around that.
Okay, like around the facts.
Yes, around the facts. And sometimes I think as leaders, we make some assumptions as to why people engaged in whatever it is that they did. Or the matter, and so that can filter in kind of our assumptions about things, and so that can kind of jade our perception and approach in a difficult conversation.
Yeah. And to finish the conversation, I wanted to ask you, have you presented before at an ASPA event, and what is your general impression of our boot camps?
I have not presented at an ASPA event before. This is my first time. I did attend a boot camp a couple of years ago when I first transitioned to my current position. And it's such I love the component of the boot camps because they're smaller.
Yes.
And so it's more intimate. Yeah. Maybe you can connect with more people. You can have conversations one-on-one with some of the experts or the presenters. And it's really just that great middle of the year where we all are in the throes of the difficult work that we do. And it's just that kind of recentering point. Yeah. So winter boot camp is perfect, especially when they're in Florida.
Yeah, same. I think the same.
Yes.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for joining us today. It was great having you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.